Oliver, Marks and Spencer's, the big British general merchandise come food retailer, shares up today, profits down, half-year profits. Why?
Well, shares up because the performance was slightly better than the city expected, so they're up about 3% or so it's quite a nice bump for shareholders. Profits down. The big problem for M&S in recent years has been general merchandise, largely its clothing business. It's more or less half and half food and clothing with a bit of international as well. The food business is doing very nicely, growing its sales, but like-for-like sales, the same-store sales have been falling in general merchandise in the clothing area for the past 7 consecutive quarters, and that continued in the second quarter of the year. So things are really tough there for Marks and Spencer's.
Is this a sharp contrast with other UK clothing retailers? I mean, is it losing share?
Well, some others are doing much better. You look at ASOS, the online retailer, is doing remarkably well, growing sales very rapidly now that they're fairly different markets. And one of the difficulties for M&S is that it's supposed to be all things to all people. Everyone wants M&S to supply only things for them. But nevertheless, it brought in last summer 2012, it brought in a new top team in the clothing division. They really started working at the beginning of this year. And the first chance they've had to demonstrate what their kind of new strategy is about is the Christmas, the autumn-winter range this year. So it's only been in the store for a few weeks now, but really it's the crucial period for the new clothing team at Marks and Spencer and their new strategy. They've got to show over this Christmas that they've turned things around and they've started getting things right.
Well, you mentioned Christmas. I mean, that is always the sort of crunch time for retailers. How do you think M&S will do over that period?
Well, personally, I'm not a great fashion expert. Mark Bolan, the chief executive, says that things were going fairly well. He's quite cautious, but then in a sense he would. That said, it's a very difficult consumer backdrop still in the UK. People aren't buying spending an awful lot of money on clothes at all, whether it's in M&S or elsewhere. So it's got to cope with that backdrop and as well try and regain its market position somewhat. So it's a tough job ahead for Marks and Spencer's.
I guess come January or February it'll either be cold winter and nobody's can get to the shops, or cold winter and everyone's buying jumpers. Thanks very much indeed, Oliver.